You wake up every morning thinking you are chasing success. But you are not. You are chasing an illusion of control carefully designed by those who already own you. You call it ambition. They call it containment. Because as long as you chase power within their definitions, titles, approval, applause, you will never threaten them. You will only serve them. Real power does not ask. It does not wait. It does not explain. Real power takes. And the day you stop begging for permission to exist is the day you become dangerous. That is when masks begin to fall. That is when lies unravel. That is when you finally see what Machiavelli saw centuries ago. Power is not granted to the virtuous. It is seized by the willing. Men want to believe that goodness wins. That loyalty, sacrifice, honesty will open doors. But Machiavelli burned that fantasy to the ground. He said it plainly. If you cannot be both, it is better to be feared than loved. Because love is fickle. It fades when you fail to meet expectations. But fear is pure, fear is permanent, fear does not depend on mood or memory. Fear rests on one law, punishment. You want to be loved? They will love you only as long as you are harmless. The moment you become a threat, their affection dies. And if you want power, you must become a threat. You must become unforgettable. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you truly are. That is your advantage. You have been trained to wear masks, to appear humble while seething with hunger, to appear harmless while your hands are sharp, to smile, flatter, nod while inside you calculate. Machiavelli did not teach men to be evil. He taught them to stop being naive. Appearances are weapons. Virtue is camouflage. The prince, Machiavelli wrote, must learn how not to be good, and use that knowledge as necessity requires. Not always, but when the moment demands it. Because survival is not about morality, it is about timing. Knowing when to bow, when to strike, and when to vanish. You want power? Then erase the childish expectation of gratitude. Erase the illusion of fairness. Those who help you rise will be the first to turn against you. Why? Because your ascent exposes their irrelevance. They see their fading reflection in your sharpness. And so they attack. Machiavelli warned, those who lift you will always be your first enemies. They want you dependent, not dominant. And when you outgrow them, they will cloak jealousy in righteousness. They will call you arrogant, ungrateful, power-hungry. But it is not your hunger they hate. It is the weakness inside them, reflected back by your rise. So remember this. Eliminate rivals quickly and decisively, especially the ones who once applauded you. There is no honor in playing the good man in a wicked game. The world does not reward purity. It rewards perception. A prince must appear merciful, generous, religious, but keep a dagger under the cloak. That is not hypocrisy. That is necessity. You think you are authentic by bleeding in public, by confessing wounds, by speaking every truth. But they do not care. They do not care about your story. They care only for their advantage. So weaponize perception. Become the lion and the fox, strong enough to terrify, cunning enough to evade. Kind in public, ruthless in silence. This duality is not a flaw. It is the cost of power. They told you control comes from building trust. But Machiavelli knew better. Control comes from removing choice. By structuring the game so loyalty is not a feeling but a necessity. When men believe their comfort depends on you, they cling. Not out of love, but out of fear, out of survival. This is how rulers govern. Not with empathy, but with leverage. Give them enough comfort to taste security, but let them know it is yours to revoke. This is power. Every empire begins with a decision. The decision to stop apologizing for wanting more. Your ascent begins the moment you stop performing virtue and start practicing discipline. The moment you stop waiting for approval and start commanding respect. The masses will never approve. They never have. But you were not born to please them. You were born to conquer the part of you still begging for permission. The first part of you that must die is the child still hoping to be understood. The part of you that believes explaining yourself will earn peace. That part is weak. That part imagines power is something others will grant once they see your worth. But Machiavelli made it clear, power is never granted. It is taken, ripped from the hands of those too slow, too sentimental to keep it. Do not beg them to see your value. Show them why ignoring you is dangerous. Let them feel your silence like a threat. Let them wonder what you are plotting. Fear grows in the dark. Let it grow. There is no path to power without betrayal. Either you betray their expectations or you betray yourself. One must fall. And if you sabotage yourself because you fear what they will say when you rise, then you were never meant to lead. Machiavelli taught, loyalty is expendable. Treachery is a tool. While the masses cling to honor, rulers study timing, who to use, when to pivot, who to praise publicly and cut quietly. This is not cruelty, it is order. This is how fragile kingdoms become empires, by discarding the unnecessary, elevating only the useful. In power, liabilities are threats, and threats must be erased. Let go of the illusion that you must be consistent. Consistency is a cage. Predictability makes you controllable. Break the pattern. Disorient them. One day kind, the next cold. One day generous, the next silent. Not because you are unstable, but because you are unreadable. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must never allow himself to be predictable. Predictability breeds contempt. The moment they think they know you, they no longer fear you. Mystery must be reasserted constantly. Become a question they cannot answer. For what they cannot understand, they cannot control. Appearances are stronger than truth. You could be drowning in chaos, but if you look composed, they will call you disciplined. You could be ruthless inside, but if you speak gently, they will call you wise. Optics rule over substance." Machiavelli insisted, "The prince must maintain the image of virtue even when acting with vice. The people do not want truth. They want a narrative, and if you do not give them one, they will invent one that destroys you. So craft the myth. Let them kneel before the idea of you, while you remain untouchable behind the curtain. Do not seek peace. Seek control. Peace is nothing more than the silence between wars. Control is the ability to decide when the next war begins." Machiavelli warned, neutrality is weakness. The neutral are trampled by both armies. If you do not declare your dominance, someone else will declare it for you. Power does not wait. It rewards those who act, while others hesitate. Those who strike while others are still planning. Those who move while others sleep. Your reputation is your currency, not because it reflects truth, but because it shapes fear. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must avoid being hated, but he need not be loved." If they hate you but fear the cost of touching you, they will stay silent. And silence is enough. You do not need applause. You need hesitation. You need them looking over their shoulders before they speak your name. You need them wondering what happens if you answer. Power is not about being loved. It is about being remembered when the room goes quiet, and you will not arrive at power by accident. It demands cruelty. Not reckless cruelty, but precise, surgical cruelty. Machiavelli was clear. Harm must be inflicted all at once, rewards given little by little. Strike hard enough that they never forget. Then soothe just enough that they come back for more. That rhythm is not cruelty, it is control. Master it, and if you ask whether this path will make you lonely, the answer is yes. But not because you are unworthy of connection, because most are unworthy of your clarity. Machiavelli never promised comfort. He promised control. And control requires distance. You must rise above the noise to command it. You must detach from the hunger for approval. Power does not move in crowds. It moves alone, in silence, like a shadow before the storm. If you are still chasing companionship at the cost of clarity, you are not chasing power. You are chasing distraction. And distraction is how kings are turned into servants. Most men are slaves to the opinions of the room. They enter every interaction as performers, hoping to earn applause for humility, politeness, predictability. But the prince enters as the stage itself. He sets the tone, controls the tempo, forces others to adjust. That is your standard now. You are not there to adapt to their emotions. You are there to command energy without words. Machiavelli understood that real power begins before you speak. It begins with posture, with stillness, with the glance that makes a man question if he offended you without knowing how. That is not intimidation. That is psychological control. And once control is yours, protect it with uncertainty. Do not explain your decisions. Do not reveal your motives. Do not share your strategy, because once they understand your logic, they will dismantle it. Machiavelli warned, the greatest danger to a prince is to be fully known. Mystery is not weakness. It is armor. A clear enemy can be countered. A vague threat cannot be the vague threat. Let your movements confuse them. Let your silence linger longer than it should. Let them wonder if your stillness means approval or preparation. Stop apologizing for ambition. The world resents those who want too much, too fast, too openly. But power was never meant to be earned slowly. It was meant to be seized in chaos. Hesitation is the death of dominance. Machiavelli said, "Fortune is like a river. If you do not dam and redirect it when it rages, once it calms, it is too late. If the storm inside you rises, move, strike, expand. Do not ask if you are ready." Readiness is a myth designed to keep warriors asleep. You're not here to be ready. You are here to be ruthless. Ruthlessness is not recklessness. It is commitment without apology, detachment without hesitation. Machiavelli taught, to preserve power, a prince must sometimes act against mercy, against faith, against humanity. Not always, but when survival demands it. That is not evil. It is clarity. It is the refusal to die for the comfort of others. You are not their sacrifice. You are the hand holding the knife. And cold steel is what holds empires together. Power is not fair. Power is not kind. Power is a weapon. And weapons are only moral in the hands of the strong. Machiavelli sought not equality but effectiveness. And effectiveness demands you stop confusing kindness with strength. That you stop rewarding betrayal with access. That you stop hoping enemies turn into allies if given enough chances. They won't. They never do. Your patience is their strategy. Cut them off. Not with rage, but with precision. Let them vanish beneath your indifference. That is how kings end wars without lifting a sword. And finally, understand this. Every compromise you make for the sake of approval is a nail in your own coffin. You were not born to fit their world. You were born to replace it. Power is your nature. Dominance is your language. The only question is whether you will reclaim it before they convince you to bury it. And so we stand here, at the threshold. The illusions are burning. The masks are falling. And if you dare step forward, part 2 awaits, the deeper cut, where the illusions of virtue die completely, and the architecture of real dominion is revealed. Part 2 begins where illusions die. You have burned the masks. You have shed the fantasies of fairness. Now you stand before the naked truth. Power is not gentle. Power is not patient. Power is not democratic. It is solitary, sharp, and merciless. The weak still whisper of justice, but justice is a chain forged by rulers to bind the obedient. Machiavelli warned, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." This is the heart of dominion. Not honesty, not virtue, but control over perception. Whoever controls perception controls reality. Look around you. Every banner, every sermon, every news headline, every story you consume, it is all propaganda. Some of it gentle, some of it blunt, but all of it engineered. Machiavelli knew, rulers must shape belief. Not because belief is truth, but because belief is obedience. And if you do not craft the myth of yourself, your enemies will craft it for you. They will paint you as the villain before you even speak. So strike first. Be the author of your legend. Define yourself before the mob defines you. Do not waste time defending. Do not waste time clarifying. Every defense lowers your stature. Every justification bleeds power. The strong never explain. They move, and the world scrambles to interpret. Punishment is another truth you must embrace. Weak men think leniency buys loyalty. They are wrong. Mercy shown too freely invites contempt. Machiavelli commanded, "Injuries must be inflicted all at once, so they will be less tasted. Benefits should be given little by little so that they may be appreciated the more." This is psychological strategy. Strike with decisive cruelty, then soothe with gradual generosity. The blow terrifies. The drip of reward binds. Too much kindness at once and they forget. Too much cruelty too slowly and they revolt. But balance them with precision, and they are yours forever. You fear being hated? Then misunderstand nothing. Hatred is survivable. Contempt is not. If they hate you but respect you, you endure. If they dismiss you, you are dead. Respect, even through fear, is worth more than affection. The ruler must never aim for love, it is too fragile. He must aim for memory. Better they speak your name with trembling than forget you altogether. For the forgotten have no power, but power has its price, vigilance. You imagine the crown brings rest. It doesn't, it brings paranoia. It demands eyes in every shadow, ears in every corner. Machiavelli reminded, the prince must live among his people in such a way that no unexpected circumstances can make him change. Which means this: never be unprepared. Never grow so comfortable that surprise becomes your enemy. Assume betrayal. Anticipate treachery. Prepare for revolt even in silence. That is how you endure. You will walk alone. Understand this before you rise too high. True power is isolation. Why? Because every hand that clasps yours seeks leverage. Every friendship is a negotiation. Every alliance has an expiration date. Machiavelli was merciless in this truth. Men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, and deceivers. They shun danger and are greedy for gain. Expect nothing from them but this. And when they reveal it, do not cry betrayal. Call it nature. Then use it. Their greed makes them predictable. Their cowardice makes them pliable. Their lies expose their weaknesses. Yes, this is loneliness. But it is not emptiness. It is freedom. Freedom from dependence. Freedom from the chains of needing approval. Once you master solitude, you cannot be bribed by companionship. And the one who cannot be bribed cannot be controlled. Now you begin to transform. You cease to be merely human in their eyes. You become a force. They do not see your private fears, your doubts, your nights of unrest. They see only the mask you allow them. And if you craft that mask carefully enough, you are no longer a man. They call you inevitable. They call you destiny. And that illusion is worth more than any army. But transformation requires fire. To rise, you must burn your past. Every tie that anchors you, every identity that limits you, set it alight. Machiavelli did not teach moderation. He taught reinvention. He wrote, "A wise prince ought not to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interest." Translate this into your life. The old version of you, faithful to comfort, faithful to weakness, faithful to begging, must be betrayed. You cannot serve two masters, your potential and your past. Choose one. Burn the other. Do not pity the man you once were. He was necessary to bring you here, but he cannot follow you forward. If you cling to him, you die with him. Greatness demands sacrifice, and the first sacrifice is always your old self. Power is a war within. You think your enemies are out there, competitors, critics, rivals, but your greatest enemy is the part of you that craves peace, softness, safety, the part of you that begs for love instead of commanding fear. Crush that voice. It is the voice of slaves. Replace it with silence. Replace it with steel. Replace it with clarity. And then, and only then, you begin to dominate not just men, but yourself. And self-mastery is the foundation of every empire. For how can you command armies, allies, or enemies if you cannot command your own impulses? Machiavelli said it clean. He who becomes a prince through fortune, with little trouble, maintains himself with much trouble. But he who rises by ability maintains himself with ease. Translated. If you inherit your power through luck, through gifts, through mercy, you will struggle forever. But if you carve it with your own will, no man can take it. This is why you must embrace the storm. Why you must welcome hardship. Why you must turn betrayal into practice, pain into sharpening, loss into clarity. Every difficulty trains you to endure. Every fall teaches you how to rise without permission. And once you rise without permission, no one can ever put you back in chains. Understand this. History remembers neither the loved nor the fair. It remembers the effective. It remembers the feared. It remembers those who did what was necessary when others hesitated. You think it will remember your kindness? No. It will remember whether your enemies bowed or prevailed. It will remember whether your empire endured or fell. It will remember whether you commanded or begged. So stop begging. Stop performing. Stop waiting. Your throne does not exist until you carve it from the chaos. Your crown is forged in fire, not handed by ceremony. Your enemies are already plotting. The game has already begun. And hesitation is defeat. From this moment forward, you are no longer chasing success. You are building dominion. You are no longer asking to be accepted. You are demanding to be recognized. And recognition is not given by applause. It is extracted by dominance. Remember what Machiavelli left us with. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. You cannot afford to forget this. The moment you crave their love more than their fear, you collapse. Choose fear. Choose remembrance. Choose power, and now you face a choice. To remain what you were, safe, soft, invisible, or to embrace what you could be, feared, unshakable, unforgettable. The first path ends in silence. The second ends in legend, and legend is the only immortality this world grants. Do not hesitate. Do not doubt, because the storm is already here, and kings are crowned not in peace, but in lightning. The question is not whether you will rule. The question is whether you will dare to claim it. Stay. Because the next lesson will not just reveal the path of kings, it will sharpen you into the weapon they fear the most.